Hey, what is up, mortals? Welcome to part 6 season 2. I just wanted to greet you guys by just saying, sit back and relax, you're in for a treat. So, we begin. Months had passed since Izuku recovered from the aftermath of his battle with Nine. In that time, numerous doctors and quirk specialists had come and gone. Undoing the damage that had been done to him was quite the labor. But one the numerous specialists were proud to take on. In the first month, they were able to undo the various commands placed into his subconscious. In the second, they had succeeded in helping the young man remember all he had lost. The third had been the toughest due to physical limitations. The doctors attempted to undo the teen's Nomufication but reached limited success. In the end, the damage was long-lasting, and in areas irreversible, since Izuku was still alive at the time of his transformation. His body was locked in a state of half-life, not truly alive or dead in the traditional sense. When it came to Nomu, even with the best medical science had to offer, there was nothing his mother or All Might could do, tenors at best under the best of circumstances. Starfish. The Nomu grafted arm fed off Izuku, damaging his internal organs and nearly converting his body into a Nomu. Inko collapsed after receiving the news, and All Might kept his distance out of guilt. Toshinori Yagi had set up for days thinking about the condition of his former apprentice. He ignored all of Inko's texts and calls to escape the dismal news he found himself in. Instead, the symbol chose to use all the time he had left to snuff out any signs of criminal activity. He could only hold his might form for 15 minutes a day now, which was why he was in the office of the president of the Quirk Public Safety Commission. To what do I owe the pleasure? A haggard and sleep-deprived All Might asked. The woman across from him sighed. You mean besides your attempts at self-sacrifice, Mr. Yagi? She asked with a plaintive tone that made the man wince. So it's that obvious, is it? The symbol asked, knowing the answer to his question. Yes. And the public has noticed. Public sympathy for you is at an all-time high. Even the most socially inept could read you like a book, which is far from the ideal. She took a breath. On behalf of the commission, we're sorry this is happening to those two. Your apprentice would have made an excellent hero. However, we can no longer allow you to work through your frustrations by punching it out. It may be alleviating for your sense of loss. And believe me, we all feel it, but it must end. Toshinori, it's time for you to retire and go back to that woman, Inko Midoriya. Many of our sources say she's worried about you. All Might sighed. So that's how it is. Ready to get rid of me? Like that? After all the hero work I've done? Yes and no. We know that life hasn't been fair to you, given everything you've done for the world. But you're dying, and don't have much time left. She wants to take care of you, and you should let her. Her husband won't be coming back anytime soon after abandoning her. She needs you and you need her. Admittedly, Toshinori had enjoyed his time with her. She had the ability to make things peaceful, as much as he'd want to deny it. If things had been different, he could see himself in a comfortable relationship with her. Though given all that he'd cost her, he couldn't see himself taking that step. I have no place in her heart and you have none spying on her. As for retirement, I'll stop when I have to, no sooner. Do as you wish. But do keep in mind that your actions affect the world. She warned strongly. You think I don't know that? I've been the symbol of peace for decades. I know my importance. Is there anything else? Your apprentice. He's too dangerous to be set free. But there's interest in him from our government. There's a lot of good he can do for the world. And while I'm against it, it may be the only chance he'll have for a life outside of a cage. The symbol of peace slammed his fist against her desk. The woman didn't flinch. It may seem cruel to you, as if we only care for our best interest, but he's an asset, one I feel the rest of the government won't let go of. Just think about. There may be a way to make the transition easier. Having heard enough, All Might stood and headed for the door. I let him hurt himself out of ignorance. I won't let another use him up until he has nothing left to give. He deserves better. I agree. But sooner or later they will reach out. Do look on the bright side. It's better than spending his life wasting away behind bars. All Might clenched his fist, leaving the room in worse spirits than when he went in. Elsewhere, Dr. Yujiko eyed the young man before him. A strained silence between himself and Dabai, who seemed more preoccupied with testing out his new body than anything else. So, what'll you do first? The doctor asked, wriggling his mustache nervously. His scars were washed away by the various healing quirks and his physique had become a healthier, more muscular build. Got someone I gotta visit in a hospital. Then head to a few of the shadier areas to snatch some quirks. After that I'll need an army, and given the society we live in, it'll be easier to set up than it should. The world is on fire, and not even All Might can snuff the flames. Dabai explained like he was talking about the weather. The doctor raised a brow, confused by the oversimplified explanation. Well, you know, I do have an army available to assist you. You've proven yourself, and if you so chose, I could assist you. Dabai acknowledged the offer with a smile, before going back to examining his new body. No can do, Eggman, wouldn't work. I need people loyal to me, and your bias won't help me accomplish my goal. I'm not a flashy guy, and I like to earn my own. Building an army, toppling the world of false heroes. It takes time. Time I now have thanks to you. I miss my scars, but I'd be lying if I said it won't help me conceal my identity. Dabai waved his hand, generating a portal. I honestly appreciate it. You've been great, but it's time for me to start anew. Take care and try not to get yourself killed. Dabai walked through the portal and took in a breath of fresh air. Taking in his surroundings and his new powers, he felt what must have been the freedom of a caged bird. Damn, this is what it's all about. Now, to get sentimental before it all burns down. Dabai blinked away an escaping tear. His heart palpitated as he struggled to work up the courage that firmly drove his resolve. I almost forgot what it feels like to cry, the villain uttered to himself as he trotted down the steps of the roof he appeared on. Days later, Uraraka and her friend-turned-boyfriend Izuku sat beside one another, enjoying the warm sun and pleasant breeze of the botanical garden. The two were allowed to come out of the compound where Izuku was being housed, albeit under heavy security and with a quirk-restraining collar around his neck. She'd been there for Izuku for every step of his recovery and never once shuddered away. This was their first date together. And while it was uncomfortable with so many watching them in the shadows, being together was worth it. Uraraka opened their picnic basket and offered Izuku a sandwich. Thank you, Uraraka, he said, taking it with a nervous blush. You're welcome, she replied with a shy smile of her own as he took a bite of the sandwich. Is it good, Deku? The best thing I've eaten in a while. Uraraka. Izuku looked her in the eye, mustering his courage. Uraraka, been meaning to ask if this is what you really want. I'm not the same person you knew back then. I know it's because of what they did to me, but I still took lives and hurt people, even if they were villains. I love you, Ochako. I think I always have, but I'm afraid of dragging you down with me. Uraraka scooched closer to Izuku. Deku, you have to stop sacrificing your own happiness for others. You're not going to drag me down. People understand, and we're here for you. I'm here for you, Deku. Do you want me to leave? Izuku shook his head. No. Good, because I love too. Izuku Midoriya, and I want to stand by your side. So for once in life, let someone else be your hero. Uraraka wrapped him up in a loving embrace, which he surrendered to happily. Okay, Uraraka, he said, accepting her declaration. Just for a bit longer than they should have, they held each other, happy to have another. In the distance, in horrible disguises, Inko and Uraraka's mother sat watching and listening, and with joy. Both women had met months ago, becoming fast friends in the time they'd known one another, and secretly hoped to call each other sister one day. Life had taken its pound of flesh from her son, so all Inko desired from it now was her baby's happiness. After so long, it seemed that things were going as she hoped, and he'd get to have the peace he deserved. Inko cried happily, unaware of the horrors happening miles away from her. Dabai walked at a calm pace with Compress twice and Mustard behind him. Their destination was the supermax security prison known as Tartarus. The guards who noticed them jumped into action, aiming high-yield explosives and machine guns at the trespassers. Dabai raised a hand which flickered to life with brighter-than-usual blue flame. Hellfire. Flames of Prometheus. A wave of living flames washed over the bridge that connected the prison to the mainland. Some of the guards let out an audible gasp, and others attempted to duck and cover, but no matter their actions, they were swept away by all-consuming light, resulting in the brave men and women being nothing more than piles of dust. By the time they made it to the prison entrance, dozens of heroes and hundreds of guards stood in their way. Dabai smirked. You all got the plan. I'll send you ahead, and don't worry, I'll catch up. Dabai snapped his fingers, generating a purple portal large enough for his followers to go through. Closing it behind them, Dabai stopped and studied his opponents. I'll give you all one chance to walk away from this, but if you insist on fighting me, you'll have no one to blame but yourselves when you aren't able to go home. Showing their worth as guards against what they saw as evil, none backed down. In response, Dabai raised his hand, extending his pinky finger, and created a clone of himself, then another and another, until there were 20 duplicates of himself. Time for practice. The battle was short-lived and resulted in Dabai gaining a few quirks he could play with later. Dabai created a portal for himself and walked through it. A moment later, Dabai found himself standing in the cell of All for One. Dabai's face held little emotion as the man sneered at him. So this is where legends come to die. I'd always wondered what the insides of these places looked like. Dabai, with mild respect for the locked up in front of him. You're the one Shigaraki recruited. Why are you here? All for One asked from behind gritted teeth. To kill you. Can't have you breaking free and foiling my plans for the world. Really? And what exactly are you hoping to accomplish? A reorganization of the world. Your reign in this world is over, old man. Unlike you, there's some good I want to do. It's time for the society you helped build to burn. Dabai readied his flame quirk as all for one started fuming. You better think very carefully about what you're going to do next. I may be in a supermax cell, but I have ways of communicating to the outside world. I know of what you did to Shigaraki. When my remaining people find out you killed me, there will be nowhere for you to hide. You'll be dead within a week at best. No, I won't. Having had the last laugh, Dabai incinerated the man. After he waited for a signal from his men, Dabai would need an army to take control of the world. And there was no better place to start recruitment than Tartarus Prison. Just you wait, old man. I'll show you what a true symbol can do. Outro. Thank you all for indulging yourselves in the story thus far. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, there are a few more things that I'd like to go over before the video ends. Firstly, we've got a second channel called Anime Deep Dive. Anime Deep Dive goes deep into the facts and lore of a wide variety of anime. It's sure to expand your weeb knowledge for all kinds of series, guaranteed. On top of that, we have a third channel called We The Celestials Naruto What Ifs. It's what we do on this channel already, but in the vast world and lore of Naruto. Go check it out if you're in the mood for some jutsu action. Secondly, on behalf of We The Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in the production of today's awesome content. Their details will be in the description below. Lastly, if you're interested in what we do here at We The Celestials, then I would like to extend out an invitation to join the team. The only caveat being we only accept members 16 years and up to join our crew. You can sign up for whichever category fulfills your interests by joining the recruitment Discord using the link in the description below. Our Discord is an all-around fantastic place to be. Whether you're a fan or looking to join our band of misfits, we're always looking for members to join us. Well, that's it from us for today's video. So, thank you all for watching, and have a great day.